Hey, welcome back to the Step Out and Thrive podcast with me, Bethany Joy. And I'm so excited that you're here. I feel like I say that every week. Bethany's like, you're always excited. Yes, I'm excited. I really am excited that you're here. This is a place where we're not doing anything perfect. And if you're looking for that, I'm sure there's a lot of other podcasts. But this is a place that literally I just click record and I just let God move. And the whole purpose of this is to provide a place where people that are doing relationships, and by relationships, I mean, it could be work relationships, it could be parent-child relationships, it could be relationships with God, it could be relationships with ourselves. There's so many people out there that want to do relationships well. And if that's you, you're in the right place. We don't want to just live surviving, just barely getting through the relationship that God has us with. Instead, we want to thrive in that. And we're not in the most, so many times I mention relationships and people are like, oh, you do couples counseling. No, I don't actually at all. But I guess part of it is, but a lot of what I deal with is deep relationships with other people. I focus on, in my groups, in my small groups, I focus on how to do relationships well. In the experience, we go deep into stories with one another without fixing. And God shows up every time. It's amazing. But it's something that you have to experience. And it's something that you have to grow and work towards relationally. So that's my passion. That's why I'm here. And we are right in the middle of a really neat series all about my favorite passages in the Bible. And if you've been with me for any length of time, you're probably going, I know which one that is because you use it every single week that we've been here. And it is Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 through 33. And it is the place where Jesus walks on the water with Peter. And last week we ended with the idea of Peter was sinking and Jesus was reaching out his hand and Peter was reaching up to grab it. And we just froze that moment in time. And we talked about forgiveness. We talked about what it looks like when things don't go as planned. And we talked about when we're actually underneath the water, what it really takes to actually reach out and grab Jesus' hand and that he's with us no matter what. So if you want to go back and listen to that, just click back or maybe start at the very beginning of the series. Today, we are going to focus on the part about, if you notice, Jesus grabs Peter's hand. He reaches out to Peter's hand and he brings him back up to the surface of the water. And then it says they walk back to the boat and they get back on the boat together. Now, it doesn't really say exactly how this happened, but all we know is that their storm is still going on because it wasn't until later that Jesus told the waves and the storm to die down. Did you guys catch that? It took me a lot of times through the story to realize that because the way I thought it was is Peter sank and Jesus reached him above the water and then magically it just cleared. Like it was a calm day and it was one of those like moments where it's just like, you know, like in the movies. And I can't think of an exact example right now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like when there's fire going off in the background and these people are just strutting like out from it, like, yeah, that happened, right? And you know there's chaos going on, but you're like, everything's good. Like that's what I kind of figured is that Peter and Jesus are like walking hand in hand and the storm's like kind of calming down in the background and you're just like, yeah, everything's good. Well, that's not really at all what's going on here. Everything's not good. The storm is still happening. The wind is still blowing. The waves are still crashing. The boat is still going up and down. We don't know what's going to happen. People are just not, they're in survival mode at the moment. They may be amazed at what's happening with Peter, but it's very much survival mode at the moment. So what are we taking away from this moment? If we could freeze this moment, what is it about relationships that we can take away from this moment? A lot of times when things are, we think ending, when things are wrapping up, it doesn't end the way that we think it will. Like for instance, the storm may not be ending. The relationship may be restored, but the storm itself may not be ending. Let me rephrase this to the story that happened in my life. So there's been so many different relationships that I've walked through with clients and ministry and leaders and missions and just so many different things, right? And there's been many different things that we could have relational challenges during it, but the whole incident of the storm that's going on around us has not ended yet. And we have to make that choice. Okay, like we trust Jesus in this and our relationship has gone through a lot, but the storm's still happening and it didn't end the way that we thought it would. So we've got to walk this out, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be challenging and uncertain. And how are we going to do this? So the story that I want to share today about one of those moments where I was walking through a hard relationship circumstance, where the relationship restored, but the storm really didn't. And this is fairly recent. It was actually a speaking opportunity that I got to be in, which was amazing. And it was an online competition. And I actually made it, y'all, to like the top 10 of it. And there was nothing, I didn't really know many of the people around, but I had formed some really good relationships. And it was just a couple hours. And it was really late my time. It's like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. And I had gone into this final round, and we had to present our message in front of everybody on a virtual stage. And it was my first time ever using actually this very camera. And it could pan and like kind of, follow me. And I had my little microphone. And I was like, let's go. And you all, God showed up in that moment, and it went amazing. And so I was like sitting there, and I was like number 3 out of 10. And so people were messaging me. It's in Zoom. So people were messaging me like, wow, Bethany, you did so good. And people are texting me that were in the room. And I was like, it was just amazing. Like I felt totally, fully alive. As they started to announce the winners of this amazing speaking competition, I realized that I was not one of them. And it was very interesting because many of the people that were messaging me and texting me were just like, we don't understand how that happened. Like, how in the world? You did such an amazing job. How are you not one of the finalists? And what was amazing to me at that moment is that God actually brought so many other relationships into my life, because the days following, I got contacted by so many people that I had no idea who they even were. But here's the thing, when you share and you really connect with other people, they will find you. They will find your social media. You don't even have to say what your website is. They will Google and find you. And so it was really neat, because over the next, I'd say even 72 hours, I had people reach out to me and just share parts of their stories. Now, these are complete strangers. And I just remember thinking, okay, wait a second. This didn't work out at all like I wanted to. And in my mind, if I had won this competition, so many doors would have opened up. Like I was thinking this was the end all, and I didn't. And I didn't understand. And it was so confusing to me. But yet I was getting all these messages from people that really wanted to connect and go deeper and learn more about, the way I speak, and learn more about my story and how I encourage them and how I help them move forward. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And then I realized, wait a second, it does make sense. I've gotten to do all of these amazing relationships now, and I've gotten to connect with so many people that I would have never been able to connect with. And it didn't end the way I thought it was. There were still a lot of storms going on. I didn't get to where I wanted to be. I'm still on this speaking journey where I'm like, God, what are you doing? I've got so many people that are like, Bethany, you could speak on this stage and this stage and this stage, and I'm not there yet. And I don't know what God's doing. I don't know the provision that he's doing in all of this, but I do know this, that I've connected with so many amazing people along the way that if it had happened the way I wanted it to happen, then it wouldn't make really any sense to where I'm at right now. And I wouldn't be able to connect with some of the people that I've gotten to connect with right now. So that's an example that I'm sharing. I know there are a lot of other deeper relationship and different examples in this. But the thing I want you to walk away with is that the storm doesn't end, even though relationships can heal and relationships can change and relationships can be restored. So the one thing that we can take away from all of this is that, yeah, doing relationships with people are hard. It doesn't necessarily solve the storms that we're going through, but it can help us walk through the storms that we're going through. So it's one thing to just keep that in mind. What storm are you walking through today that, okay, maybe you thought for sure that it could have ended, that it should be going differently, but then what relationships do you have as a result of the storm that you're walking through? And have you told those people how much they mean to you? Because they need to hear it. We all need a chance to hear that. And so, as always, you can download the interactive appreciation guide, which I would love for you to get. And you can get that at thrivewithbethany.com. And then you can also find out any more information about Step Out and Thrive and myself at bethanyjoy.fyi. And I would love to connect with you. And as always, cannot wait to see you here next week. Dare to do more than just survive. Take the time, go through the storms with others, and step out and thrive. See you guys back here next week. Bye.